So this dish is inspired by Mario's recipe. I have some sepia. So the sepias are basically cousins of the calamari. And we are going to marinate them with some oregano, garlic, and olive oil. The sauce will be some basil, kind of a pesto. I'm going to take the basil first, take the leaves of the basil, and then with a very sharp knife, start to slice the basil. I don't want to bruise the basil because it will oxidize, change color. Take a piece of garlic. I'm using a smaller knife. That will be easier for me to manage. And then I'm going to cut the garlic very thinly like that. The garlic goes into the bowl. And I'm going to add some olive oil on top. So this is almost like a liquid pesto that we have made. Now I'm going to marinate the sepia. So you can see they are small because they are more tender. I'm going to use some oregano. And I just take some of the leaves and shred it on top of my sepia. Some black pepper on top, some olive oil. And I'm not putting the salt yet because the salt will cook the sepia in advance with slicing the garlic. Not too much, it's just to give some flavor to the sepia, and it's going to be tender, not so aggressive. It will have a nice flavor. And I let the sepia marinate like that, a few minutes. I'm going to make some tomato steaks, half of an inch thick. Put on top of it some black pepper and a lot of herbe de Provence. I love herbe de Provence. They give a lot of flavor. They are made with oregano, thyme, rosemary, sometimes lavender, a bit of olive oil. It's time to put the salt. Salt also on the sepia. And we are going to go face down. It's like, look at that, going so fast. I'm going to season again on that side. What I want is the tomatoes to be firm a little bit in the middle, to have a little bit of consistency, not to be too mushy. As you can see, the herbe de Provence created almost like a crust on top of the tomatoes. I'm going to remove my tomatoes. And we are going to sear very quickly our sepia now. And we are going to cook them very, very fast because the more you cook them and the tougher they will become. You have to watch out, they're full of a juice too, and sometimes they explode a little bit and you don't want to burn your hands, so you have to be careful. I'm putting the garlic on top. I keep a good eye on it. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to flip the sepia. One finger on top, the spatula, and you see it's nicely seared, caramelized, a bit of lemon juice, and they are going back in the bowl with the olive oil from the marinade. They are cooked. It took just a little bit of time. I'm going to plate tomato, sepia, and my sauce on top. And you have something very simple and delicious that really takes in real time about 10 minutes to prepare. It's too bad that Mario left. I have some extra sepia and tomatoes. I may send him a doggy bag actually. So a bit of tomato. The sepias are really good. Santé. Cook from life.
He was famous to me, but he was famous as a dickhead.
Was he treating you nicely?
No, he was a heinous dickhead. Well, and the last straw was when he took a pan of risotto that I had deigned to be perfect and he had deigned to be less than perfect. He grabbed it, he picked it up, and he threw it at me like that. The whole thing, on me.
And you burned, of course.
And then I took 2 big handfuls of salt and went over to the mother sauce and I stirred it in and I walked out.
No way. Food, you're gonna burn.
I'm not gonna burn. We're standing right here. There's 2 of us making one dish.
Fame.
How many times do you go to the White House?
I've been there 4 or 5 times.
Fortune.
Even at a top dollar, you make much more money in a trattoria than you do in a fancy restaurant.
My guest, Mario Batali. The man, the brand, and of course the chef. It's all on the table.
I love parking in New York City.